He saw her reaching for cereal on aisle 7, and 5 years of carefully constructed distance shattered like glass. Because some loves don't fade, they just learn to wait in the shadows. Before we dive into this emotional journey, if you're loving these deep stories of love, loss, and second chances, smash that like button, drop a comment telling me if you believe in second chances, and subscribe so you never miss a story that'll make you feel everything. Now, let's begin. The rain had stopped an hour ago, but the streets of Seoul still glistened with memory. Do Yun stood at his penthouse window, the dragon tattoo coiling up his neck, catching the city lights. 5 years. 5 years since he'd signed those papers. 5 years since he'd watched Comfort walk away with tears she refused to let him see. He'd told himself it was mercy. Men like him, men who'd built empires on blood and fear, didn't get to keep soft things. The threats had been real, the danger constant. So he'd pushed her away with cold words and colder silence until she'd had no choice but to leave. His phone buzzed. Another deal, another territory dispute, another day of being exactly what he'd chosen to become. Across the city, Comfort moved through the supermarket with practiced efficiency. Her braids were pulled back, her yellow sundress bright against her dark skin. She'd rebuilt herself brick by brick after the divorce. New job, new apartment, new life. She told herself she was happy. She reached for a box of cereal on the top shelf, stretching on her toes. That's when she heard it. Let me... The voice stopped mid-sentence. Comfort froze. She knew that voice. It had whispered promises in the dark. It had said goodbye without explanation. It had haunted her dreams for 5 years. She turned slowly. Do Yun stood 3 feet away, his hand still extended, his dark eyes wider than she'd ever seen them. He wore a black shirt that did nothing to hide the tattoo snaking up his neck, the one she used to trace with her fingers. Comfort. Her name came out like a prayer he'd forgotten how to say. The cereal box slipped from her fingers, hitting the floor with a hollow thud that echoed through the aisle. 5 years. 5 years of healing. 5 years of telling herself she'd moved on. And one look from him, and every wall she'd built came crashing down. Do, Yun, she whispered, hating how her voice trembled. He looked older, harder. The tattoo seemed darker, or maybe she'd just forgotten how it shadowed his jaw when he clenched it like he was doing now. I didn't know you still lived in Seoul, he said quietly. She laughed, but it came out broken. Why would you? You stopped asking 5 years ago. What do you think happens when past love collides with present reality? Drop your thoughts below. The supermarket's fluorescent lights felt too bright, too exposing. Comfort bent to pick up the cereal box, her hands shaking. Do-Yun moved at the same time, their fingers brushed. Electricity. Still. They both jerked back like they'd been burned. I should... Comfort started. Wait. Do-Yun's hand caught her wrist, gentle but desperate. Please, 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes. She should have said no. Should have walked away like he taught her to do. But his thumb was tracing small circles on her wrist, an old habit he probably didn't even realize he still had. 5 minutes, she agreed, her voice barely audible. They moved to the cafe corner of the supermarket, sitting across from each other at a small table. The distance felt like miles. You look good, Do-Yun said, his eyes drinking her in like a man dying of thirst. Happy. I am happy. The lie tasted bitter. Good. That's good. He looked down at his hands, hands that had held her, protected her, pushed her away. I wanted that for you. Did you? The question came out sharper than she intended. Is that why you stopped coming home? Stopped talking to me? Stopped loving me? I never stopped loving you. The words exploded from him, raw and desperate. Never, Comfort. Not for 1 second of one day in 5 years. She felt tears burning behind her eyes. Then why? Why did you push me away? Why did you make me feel like I meant nothing to you? Do Yun's jaw worked, his hands fisting on the table. The tattoo on his neck seemed to pulse with his heartbeat. Because men were following you, watching our apartment, threatening to use you to get to me. I couldn't. His voice cracked. I couldn't let them hurt you. Not you. So you hurt me instead? Comfort's voice broke. You broke my heart to save my life? Yes. He looked up at her and she saw it. The pain he'd been carrying. The weight of a choice that had nearly destroyed him too. And I'd do it again if it meant keeping you safe. Comfort stood abruptly, her chair scraping against the floor. You don't get to make that choice for me, Do-Yun. You never did. She walked toward the exit, her vision blurring with tears. Behind her, she heard him whisper, I know, and I'm sorry. But she didn't turn back. Comfort made it to her car before the sobs came. She gripped the steering wheel, gasping for air between tears. 5 years of healing, undone in 15 minutes. She'd built a life without him, a good life. She had her marketing job, her small circle of friends, her weekend pottery classes. She'd learned to sleep alone, to cook for one, to stop reaching for him in the middle of the night. And now he was back, looking at her like she still mattered, saying words she'd needed to hear 5 years ago. I never stopped loving you. She wanted to hate him for saying it, wanted to hate herself for believing it. Her phone buzzed, a text from her best friend, Ji Won. Dinner tomorrow? You've been distant lately. Comfort stared at the message. Had she been distant? Or had she just been surviving, keeping people at arm's length so no one could leave her the way Do-Yun did? Do-Yun stood in the supermarket, parking lot, watching Comfort's car disappear into traffic. His phone rang, his second in command. Boss, we have a situation. Not now. He hung up. For 5 years, he'd thrown himself into the business, expanded territory, eliminated threats, built an empire so powerful that no one would dare touch what was his again. Except he'd already lost what mattered most. He'd convinced himself it was the right choice, the only choice. Men in his world didn't get happy endings. They got blood and betrayal and late-night calls about bodies in the river. But seeing Comfort today, seeing the pain in her eyes, the way she'd flinched when he touched her, he wondered if he'd been a coward. If he'd hidden behind protection when what she'd really needed was truth. His phone buzzed again, this time a text from his mother. Your father wants to discuss the merger. Don't avoid us, Do-Yun. He deleted it without reading the rest. His mother had never understood why he'd married Comfort in the first place. A black woman with no family connections, no business value, no political advantage. Just love. Pure, terrifying love. And he'd thrown it away. Do-Yun looked down at his left hand. He still wore the ring, hidden under a glove when he worked, but always there. Always reminding him of vows he'd broken. He pulled out his phone and did something he hadn't done in 5 years. He texted her. I'm sorry I made you feel like you didn't matter. You were everything. Then he waited. Comfort was halfway through making dinner when her doorbell rang. She wasn't expecting anyone. Through the peephole, she saw Do-Yun standing in the hallway, soaked from the rain she hadn't realized had started. He looked lost. What are you doing here? She asked through the door. Your address is still listed as my emergency contact, he said quietly. The hospital called me. Your mother. The door flew open. What about my mother? She's okay, Do-Yun said quickly, raising his hands. She collapsed at work. They took her to Seoul Medical. She's stable, but they're running tests. Comfort's world tilted. Her mother was her only family. The woman who'd moved to Korea with her when she'd married Do-Yun, who'd stayed when the marriage ended, who'd become her anchor. I need to go, now. She grabbed her purse, her hands shaking too hard to find her keys. I'll drive you, Do-Yun said. You're in no state. I don't need you to comfort. His voice was gentle but firm. Let me help. Please. She wanted to refuse, wanted to prove she didn't need him, but terror for her mother overrode pride. Fine. The drive to the hospital was silent, except for the rain hammering the windshield. Do-Yun drove with the same careful precision she remembered. His presence filled the car, familiar and foreign at once. When did she collapse? Comfort asked, staring out the window. An hour ago. She was teaching an English class. One of the students called emergency services. Why didn't they call me first? They did. You didn't answer. Comfort checked her phone. 3 missed calls. She'd been too busy crying over Do-Yun to notice. This is your fault, she whispered. I was distracted because of you. I know. His hands tightened on the wheel. I'm sorry. They pulled into the hospital parking lot. Comfort bolted from the car before it fully stopped, running through the rain toward the emergency entrance. Do-Yun was right behind her. At the nurse's station, Comfort gave her mother's name with a trembling voice. The nurse checked the system. She's in room 304. Stable, the doctor will brief you shortly. Comfort sagged against the counter in relief. Do-Yun's hand found the small of her back, steadying her. For a moment, she let him. For a moment, it felt like old times, like they were still a team, still partners against the world. Then she remembered they weren't, and she stepped away. Comfort's mother, Abony, looked small in the hospital bed. But when she saw her daughter, her face lit up. Baby girl, I'm fine. Just a little dehydration and stress. These doctors are overreacting. Comfort collapsed into the chair beside the bed, holding her mother's hand. Mama, you scared me. I'm too stubborn to die, Abany said with a smile. Then her eyes shifted past Comfort, and her expression changed. Do-Yun. He stood in the doorway, uncertain. Mrs. Abany, I'm glad you're okay. Come here, boy. Do-Yun approached the bed. Abany studied him for a long moment, then sighed. You look terrible. When's the last time you slept? Mama, Comfort started. Hush, child. I'm talking to your husband. Ex-husband, Comfort corrected quietly. Is he? Abany's eyes were sharp despite her exhaustion. Then why did he still come when I needed help? Why does he look at you like you're the only thing keeping him alive? The room went silent. Do-Yun cleared his throat. I should give you 2 privacy. Sit down. Abany's voice had that tone that allowed no argument. Do-Yun sat. Abany looked between them, her expression sad. 5 years ago, Do-Yun came to me. Before he pushed you away, Comfort. Before the divorce. Comfort's head snapped up. What? He showed me pictures, Abany continued. Pictures of men following you to work. Pictures of our apartment with targets marked on the windows. He showed me police reports of women in his world who'd been kidnapped, tortured, killed to send messages to their husbands. Tears rolled down Comfort's cheeks. Mama, why didn't you tell me? Because he asked me not to. He said if you knew the danger was real, you'd try to stay anyway. You'd insist on fighting with him instead of being safe. Abany reached for Do-Yun's hand. I thought he was a coward for pushing you away. But then I saw the men myself. Saw them watching my baby girl. And I understood. Do-Yun's voice was hoarse. I handled it. Made deals, eliminated threats. It took 3 years, but I made sure no one would ever touch her again. 3 years? Comfort whispered. And the other 2? He looked at her, his eyes raw. I didn't know how to come back. Didn't know if you'd even want me to. So I stayed away and told myself it was enough that you were safe. You idiot, Comfort breathed. You beautiful, stupid idiot. What would you do if someone pushed you away to protect you? Is it love or betrayal? Comment below. The hospital required Abany to stay overnight for observation. She shooed both of them away. You two need to talk. Really talk. Go. It was past midnight when they left the hospital. The rain had stopped, leaving the city washed clean and glittering. I'll drive you home, Do-yun said. Comfort nodded, too emotionally exhausted to argue. They drove in silence, but it felt different now. Softer. The weight of truth between them, instead of secrets. I have your favorite, Do-yun said suddenly. In the car. I always keep it. Keep what? He reached into the center console and pulled out a chocolate bar, the expensive, dark chocolate with sea salt she'd loved, the kind she could never find in stores. You remembered? She whispered. I remember everything, Comfort. The way you hum when you cook. How you organize your books by color, not author. That you hate socks but love fuzzy slippers. That you take your coffee with too much cream and not enough sugar. His voice cracked. I remember all of it because forgetting would mean losing you completely. She unwrapped the chocolate with shaking hands, broke off a piece, and without thinking, offered it to him. He took it from her fingers, his lips brushing her skin. I missed you, she admitted. Every single day I missed you. I'd lived in hell without you, Do-yun said. A hell I chose, but hell nonetheless. They reached her apartment. Neither moved to leave the car. Do you want to come up? Comfort asked. Just for coffee, just to talk more. Yes? Her apartment was nothing like the penthouse they'd shared. It was smaller, cozier, filled with her pottery projects and books and life she'd built without him. Do-yun touched everything with gentle fingers, learning who she'd become. You started pottery. Therapy, she said, making coffee. My therapist said I needed to create something with my hands, to prove I could build things that wouldn't leave me. The words landed like a punch. Comfort. I'm not trying to hurt you, she said quickly. I'm just being honest. I know. He accepted the coffee she offered. Thank you, for being honest, for letting me be here. They sat on her couch, careful not to touch, but closer than strangers. What happens now? Comfort asked. Do-yun looked at her, his eyes holding universes of hope and fear. That depends on you. On whether you can forgive me, on whether you want to try again. I don't know, she whispered. I don't know if I can survive losing you twice. 3 days later, Comfort's world exploded. She was at work when her phone rang, an unknown number she almost didn't answer. Miss Comfort? A woman's voice, professional and cold. This is Attorney Kim. I represent the Kwon family. Do-yun's family. Comfort's blood ran cold. What do you want? To offer you money. 500 million won to stay away from Do-yun. The office around her seemed to fade away. Excuse me? His parents are concerned about your renewed association. They believe you're a distraction from important family business. The money is generous. Take it and disappear. Comfort's hand shook. I'm not for sale. Everyone has a price, Miss Comfort. Think about it. Your mother's hospital bills, your modest salary. Do-yun is returning to family business. He's engaged to be married to a suitable Korean woman. You're an embarrassment to him. The line went dead. Comfort sat frozen at her desk. Engaged? He'd been at her apartment 3 days ago, telling her he'd lived in hell without her. Her phone buzzed. A text from Do-yun. Can I see you tonight? She stared at the message, fury building in her chest. When Do-yun arrived at her apartment that evening, Comfort was waiting by the door. Is it true? She demanded. Is what true? Are you engaged? Is your family paying me to disappear? Was this whole week just a game to you? Do-yun's face went white. Who told you? So it's true. Her voice broke. You're engaged. No, I mean, it's complicated. My parents arranged it years ago, but I never agreed. You never told me. Comfort screamed. You came back into my life, made me feel things again, Made me hope again? And you forgot to mention you're supposed to marry someone else? I'm not marrying her. I told my parents no 100 times. But you didn't tell me. Tears streamed down her face. You kept it secret just like you kept everything secret 5 years ago. You haven't changed, Do-yun. You're still making decisions for me, still keeping me in the dark, still treating me like I'm too weak to handle the truth. That's not fair. Get out. Her voice was ice. Get out of my apartment. Get out of my life. And this time, stay out. Comfort, please, get out! Do-yun stood there, his face a mask of anguish. Then he turned and walked away. The door closed behind him with a finality that felt like death. Comfort slid to the floor and sobbed. For 3 days, Do-yun didn't exist. He went through the motions, meetings, phone calls, decisions, but he was a ghost in his own life. His second-in-command finally confronted him. Boss, you need to handle this. Your parents are pushing the marriage contract. The merger depends on it. Cancel it. What? Cancel the merger, cancel the engagement, cancel everything. Do-yun looked up, his eyes hollow. I'm done living a life that doesn't include her. Boss, this will destroy years of planning. Then let it burn. Do-yun stood, sudden clarity flooding through him. What's the point of an empire if I'm empty inside? What's the point of power if I can't use it to fight for the one thing that matters? He grabbed his coat and headed for the door. Where are you going? To do what I should have done 5 years ago, to fight. Comfort was at her mother's apartment, helping her move around after being discharged, when someone knocked. It wasn't Do-yun. It was an elderly Korean couple. Elegant, cold, powerful. We are Do-yun's parents, his mother said. We need to speak with you. Comfort's mother stood protectively beside her daughter. I think you've said enough through your attorney. Do-yun's father spoke for the first time. That attorney acted without our knowledge. When we discovered what she'd done, we fired her. Comfort blinked. What? His mother's face softened slightly. We were wrong. About you. About our son. We thought we knew what was best for him. We thought bloodlines and business were what mattered. And now? Comfort's voice was wary. Now we see a man who's been dying slowly for 5 years, Do-yun's father said quietly. We see a son who built everything we asked for and lost everything that mattered, and we're here to apologize. Where is he? Comfort whispered. Coming to find you. But we needed to tell you first. There is no engagement. There never really was. Only our stubborn hope that he'd forget you. His mother's eyes were wet. But some loves don't fade. They just wait. The words echoed the story's opening hook. Before Comfort could respond, the door burst open. Do-yun stood there, breathing hard like he'd run the whole way. His eyes found hers across the room. I choose you, he said. I chose you 5 years ago when I pushed you away to keep you safe. And I choose you now, whatever that cost. I'm done being afraid. I'm done living without you. Comfort's heart hammered in her chest. What are you saying? I'm saying fight with me. Fight for us. Give me one more chance to get it right. The room held its breath. Comfort looked at Do-yun, really looked at him. The man who'd broken her heart to save her life. The man who'd carried the weight of that choice for 5 years. The man who was standing in front of his parents, choosing her again. You hurt me, she said softly. You broke me, Do-yun. I know. If I do this, if I give you another chance, you don't get to make decisions for me anymore. You don't get to push me away to protect me. We face everything together, or we don't do this at all. Hope flickered in his eyes. Together. I'm going to be angry sometimes. I'm going to remember the pain and lash out. I'm going to need time to rebuild trust. I'll take whatever time you need, Do-yun said, stepping closer. I'll take your anger, your pain, your doubt. I'll take all of it if it means I get to be by your side. And your family? She glanced at his parents. Your business? Do-yoon's father spoke up. We'll adjust. The business will survive, but our son won't. Not without you. Comfort felt tears on her cheeks. I missed you so much. I'm right here, Do-yeon whispered, closing the distance between them. I'm right here, and I'm not going anywhere ever again. His hands cupped her face, thumbs wiping away her tears. The dragon tattoo on his neck seemed to pulse with his heartbeat, the same heartbeat that had always belonged to her. I never stopped loving you, he said, echoing the words from the supermarket. I never stopped loving you either, Comfort breathed. Even when I hated you, even when I wanted to, I couldn't stop. Their lips met in a kiss that tasted like grief and hope and 5 years of waiting. When they finally pulled apart, Comfort's mother was crying happy tears, and Do-yoon's parents were smiling, small but real. So what now? Comfort asked, her hand still fisted in his shirt. Now? Do-yeon smiled, the first real smile she'd seen in 5 years. Now we start over. Together. No secrets, no walls, just us. Just us, she agreed. He pressed his forehead to hers. I love you, Comfort. I loved you in the supermarket. I loved you through 5 years of hell, and I'll love you until the day I die. Promise me something, she whispered. Anything. Promise me we'll fight. When things get hard, when danger comes, when the world tries to tear us apart, promise me we'll fight together. I promise. He kissed her again, softer this time. Together. Always together? And this time, when she reached for him, he didn't let go. So tell me, do you believe in second chances at love? Would you take back someone who hurt you to protect you? Drop your answer in the comments, and don't forget to like if this story touched your heart. Until next time, keep believing in love that waits in the shadows.